Greetings! Welcome to Session 1 of Primer 2. Session 1 is an introduction about project management and information and communications technology for development. This session covers basic concepts and definitions on project management and ICTD. Our learning objectives for these sessions are to know and describe what projects are, Human Development Projects, ICTD, and Egovernment Projects, the key features of projects, what project management does, what do you do to manage in projects, and about methods and different approaches in project management. In the Primer 2 resource book, our succeeding discussions will mostly cover Chapter 1 and 5. To begin, let us know what projects are. Projects are temporary planned set of activities with purposes, goals, objectives, and expected outcomes and results. They have a beginning and an end, directed to be strategic in meeting needs and problems. Projects present solutions to address needs or problems. Has limits or boundaries called constraints. The three main project constraints are scope, time, and cost, also known as the project triangle or the triple constraints. They are the basic limitations in managing projects. Now, projects can be small and simple or large and complex. The scope of a small and simple project may cover an uncomplicated requirement. Example, preparing and conducting a training of trainers for a computer literacy class for out-of-school youth, women, homemakers, farmers, and senior citizens in a village community to increase economic opportunities. Now, a large and complex project can be multifaceted with many component parts and activities. Example, developing and implementing a computerized national election systems, this project for more efficient electoral results. As you can see, there are many projects that happen in our environment. The settings could be in a school, an organization like government or non-government organizations, in an urban area, in a rural community with businesses and other institutions. So what are projects for? Why do we create projects? Now, projects have reasons to happen. They are solutions to address a need or problem. Our society have many problems. Some of these problems, though, are quite basic. The Millennium Development Goals, for instance, give a list of targets to achieve, such as reducing poverty, child and maternal mortality rates, illiteracy, and the like. Many development organizations aim to contribute to the solutions to social problems. One of these is to the so-called human development. Thus, human development projects. This is what we would like to pertain when we refer to projects. The purposes could be to alleviate poverty, increase access to basic quality education, basic health facilities and information, social protection programs for women and children, and other projects that can contribute to meet the Millennium Development Goals. So information and communication technology for development projects, or ICTD, are human development initiatives that are supported by ICTs. These are also strategic ICT-based solutions to meet defined service and needs. By strategic, we mean that the results of the project will lead towards a desired future. Perhaps it will also be good to define at this point what we mean by ICTs. ICTD projects will refer to the UNDP definition of ICTs as diverse sets of tools and resources used to communicate and to create, produce, store, process, disseminate, and manage information. They include the old ICTs of radio, television, and telephone, and the new ICTs of computer, satellites, wireless technology, and the internet. ICT projects are mostly happening in many developing countries. One presented here in this slide is about the Kerala State Poverty Eradication Mission. It's an IT social outsourcing. It is about promoting women's economic empowerment, about women who are able to use the benefits of ICTs. And it was first started as a pilot project, and upon its show of success, the project has become part of the Kerala government's regular program or a mission. Two other examples here is the moving project of the Indian government that helps small farmers improve land registration and documentation on the web, and the Chile Compra program for more efficient procurement in government. Other ICTD project examples are computing literacy to increase skills, competency for economic opportunities and community development. Green IT project, recycling computer equipment for use of public schools and state universities and colleges, using the web and social media for promotion of a cause. Database upgrade, for example, with interface from text messages for mobile telephony for reporting disasters and management of relief operations. Content development for farmers, access to agriculture information on market prices and crop management, ICTD policy study for legislation, or establishment of a telecenter in a community. As you can see from the examples, ICTD projects are varied. What is common, though, to emphasize is that ICTD projects are designed to improve delivery of services for increased access of citizens for better goods and services. Now, there is another type of ICTD project that will come to mind when we discuss ICTs in organizational settings: the e-government projects. E-government is the application of ICTs to transform, enhance the performance of traditional government functions and services. The purpose is more effective, efficient service delivery to citizens or better public service that will contribute or enhance to people's better quality of life. Aside from the Kerala State Poverty Eradication Mission, IT social outsourcing and the Movie Land Registration Project and the government procurement in Chile in the previous slides, here are other e-government projects. Development of systems for government business registration to promote e-commerce development, of a database system for a labor agency to match skills and competencies, of a job applicant to existing job vacancies and to promote labor demand. Another is migration of PBX telephony systems to voice over internet protocol systems for a government agency or a non-government agency for instituting feedback from users and citizens. Another is upgrading of real estate tax system of a local government. Now, ICTD and e-government projects, the emphasis here is for ICTD. It's focused on the purpose and outcomes of the projects. ICT projects are created for the purpose of human development, such as having better access to information, delivery of more efficient and effective services in education, health, employment, and improving citizens' access to other government services. Now, projects must have the following key features: clear and smart objectives. By clear, we mean smart. S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant or realistic, and T for time-bound. So one example of a SMART objective is, by end of year 2014, the district libraries and reading centers in 4 communities are equipped with the needed telecommunications infrastructure and ICTs to provide city residents information and services on economic opportunities. Defined and documented scope. A project must have a specific and defined coverage or scope that is expressed in writing. This is to identify what it will do and not do, what it will cover and not cover within a span of time. A project feature is also based on strategic options. The project is selected as the best option from among many. By strategic, it is meant that the results of the project leads to the fulfillment of a long-term goal. Now, another feature is show specific results. Projects must be able to articulate the expected consequence or outcomes of the project after a sequence of activities has been implemented. Another feature is for ownership support. Projects must be supported by the group in the organization or community desiring to have a change to happen. Now, there must be specific start and end dates. Projects are constrained by time. Projects are temporary endeavors and must have start and end dates. For example, the project duration is 18 months, starting September 1, 2013 and ending on 31 March 2015. So, these must have timely deliverables as well. Refer to a product or service that must show up on the agreed time. A project must have finite budget. Projects are constrained by available and predetermined funds. Money is limited and must be budgeted to make sure funds will be sufficient and used judiciously. A project is also quality constrained. Quality provides the valued specification and description of an input or output of the project. For example, a needed computer hardware has specifications of fast and robust quality to accommodate video streaming and downloading. Now, a project must also have assigned resources. Projects need resources such as personnel, expertise, equipment, space, and other technical requirements. Now, resources are allocated to be utilized and organized in the implementation of the project. You can use the key project features as a checklist that will guide you in the preparation of your project plan. Now, here is another feature of a project. It has a life cycle. Remember, projects have a start date and an end date. In that period of time, you have different stages of work to manage. So here in this illustration, just like the caterpillar, butterfly illustration, there are different stages or phases that projects go through. These phases are the initiation phase, the planning phase, the implementation and monitoring phases, and the closing and evaluation phases. Now let's take a look at the pre-initiation phase. When the idea of a project is broached, it is usually based on a list of identified programs of action and from policies and strategies. The initiation phase, the stage when project scope and parameters are defined and validated, you have gone through a series of checking if the project is feasible. The planning phases, the process of preparing more detailed plans of the project. Now, the implementation phase is when the plan of activities are executed according to the defined scope, quality, schedules, and costs. Monitoring phase, the next one, enables you to check and review all plans, that's inputs and outputs, and set standards versus the actual performance during the implementation phase. Now, evaluation, this is a tool that measures the achievement and impact of the project, how project results have contributed to goals and objectives set by the project. Now, the closing phase refers to the end of the project when deliverables and obligations are met, completed, and accepted. Okay. Now, in projects, you need to set milestones. Setting of milestones is important in every project phase. Usually, there are a set of major activities that gives you the signal that you have graduated from a phase and that you can move on to the next. Now, in this slide, you will see a milestone identified as a checkpoint completing a major activity. So here, the scope approval is singled out as a milestone for the initiation phase. From there, you can now proceed to the succeeding phase. The project plan approved is the major milestone for the planning phase. And for the implementation or execution phase is the scope complete or first use, and for the closing phase, you have the milestone product released. Now, every project has its own use and challenges. Let us now have an idea what recent literature say at the common causes of failures of projects. Going through the list, you will see that poor project management is one of the causes. Perhaps this is the reason that we have Primer 2, so we will have an awareness of how projects can be better managed. So what is project management? There are many definitions. Let me offer you one from James Chapman. To him, project management is a set of principles and practices to lead project teams and control project schedule, costs, and risks to deliver the results of a successful project to the delighted stakeholders. I particularly highlighted the action words, lead and control, and the constraints and schedules, costs and the result to expect, so that stakeholders are happy. Now, what do we manage in a project? In this illustration are many important words that we must remember in managing projects. Let's go clockwise. Scope, time, work plan, integration, cost, procurement, stakeholders, communication, quality, deliverables, risk, and issues. At the center, you have strategy and discipline. Now, briefly, let us understand most of the words mentioned in the previous slides. Scope. Scope covers all of the work required to complete the project successfully. Then you have time. Time refers to the duration of the project and the estimated time when task will be completed. Costs. The money allocated and will be spent for project activities, tasks, and services. Next is we have the human resource. The people, individual teams, contracted professionals who will be involved in the project. Then we have the stakeholders. These are the individuals and groups who are involved, affected, and will benefit from the project. The next one is communication. The message that need to be put across to manage change and expectations. Then we have procurement, the process of acquiring needed goods and services, infrastructure, and equipment. Quality, setting standards and metrics to gauge inputs, products, and performance. Risk, the collective term for uncertainties that pose threats, limitations, and obstacles to the achievement of project goals and objectives. Now, next is integration. This covers coordination of project plans to create a consistent, coherent tasks and documentation. In the previous slide, we saw the word strategy and discipline. This means that managers have to use certain methods and practice to be able to manage the elements we just enumerated and briefly defined. One of the best practices in project management is to use methods. And why is that? The reasons are: 1. Better control of financial, physical, and human resources. More focus on fact-based decision-making, measuring outputs, and faster implementation by using common processes, templates, and meeting deadlines. Higher levels of stakeholder satisfaction happen when a project is done on time and within or under budget. Improved project communication leads to better decision-making and better internal coordination. Better upfront estimating, planning, and project definition result in lower costs and improved productivity. Better and infrequent risk assessment means resolving future risk before the problem occurs. Increase in quality means you are able to build higher quality product the first time because of the use of standard practices in tracking and monitoring. In this slide, we have a list of some known methods and approaches in project management. The classic project management methods and approaches. The choice of the approaches will depend largely on the decision of project leaders and other factors affecting the project. Listed and briefly described below are some of the project management approaches that follow the international standards. You have project management cycle or project cycle management and the logical framework approach, LFA, which uses logical method of analysis in developing a project's hierarchy of objectives. The PCM includes programming, project identification, and appraisals as part of the management cycle and processes. It provides a guide on how to manage projects and decision-making points from the perspective of the organization's project funding cycle. The approach is widely used by many international social development organizations, particularly donor organizations such as AusAid, the Canadian International Development Agency, the European Union, the United Nations Systems, and the United States Agency for International Development. Now, another is Project Management Book of Knowledge, or PMBOK. It's created by the Project Management Institute Incorporated of the United States of America. One can take the PMI examination to be certified as a project management practitioner. Another approach is the Projects in Controlled Environment, or PRINCE2 method. It is developed by the Office of the Government of Commerce of Her Majesty's Treasury Office of the United Kingdom. It also offers a certification for persons intending to pursue careers in project management. Now, there are recent approaches of ICT systems development. You have the Microsoft Solutions Framework, It's an approach by Microsoft using tools to develop high-quality, business-relevant technology solutions. Another approach is the Rational Unified Process, RUP. It's an iterative software development process that gives premium on best practices in team productivity and provides industry standards and technical methods in creating and maintaining software system solutions. Another approach is the Six Sigma Methodologies, which is based on the Six Sigma principles. Two main methodologies include the Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control, or the DMAIC, and the Define, Measure, Analyze, Design, and Verify, or the DMADV, to create new products or process designs to achieve predictable defect-free performance. Another approach is Agile Methods, which is used by ICT practitioners to develop software products using iterative workflow and incremental product delivery in short iterations. Under Agile Methods, identified by project management practitioners are Project Integrating Sustainable Methods, or PRISM, Critical Chain Project Management, Event Chain Methodology, Process-Based Management, Lean Project Management, Extreme Project Management, and 10 Benefits Realization Management. Now, in managing ICT projects, a balanced management framework is ideal. The framework includes people, process, and technology for the purpose of having results to contribute for better human development. So, what is people all about? The intention and the final product of ICTD project are for people. It is therefore important to understand the beneficiaries' needs and requirements and involve them in the planning and design of products and services in the project. Refer to the sections on project stakeholders in Chapter 1 and stakeholder analysis in Chapter 2 for techniques in identifying the stakeholders and their requirements. Now, process. For a well-organized agency, there must be a well-defined function of process, chain activities, or systems. The function of organization are established through business activities that are made up of a sequence of related tasks to accomplish the organizational goals and objectives. However, the business process of organization can be made up of old rules and outdated assumptions that make more work cumbersome. When ICT projects address these problems, agencies often break the old rules and create new ways of doing the job. ICT projects must be able to review the original business process and examine ways that these can be made more efficient for the users. The process is called business process design or business process reengineering. An example where business process reengineering may be required is the process of an application by a farmer or an entrepreneur at an e-government bank. The application and approval process includes obtaining and submitting the request form, background checking of the applicant, modifying the terms of agreement, determining the appropriate interest rate, and issuing a quote letter. Many of these loan applicants get frustrated and complain over the slow response time in processing applications for financing and thus affect business of both the borrower and the bank. Now, technology. In ICT and ICTD projects, decisions will need to be made on the types of technology to use. It will require selection from a wide array of hardware products such as personal computers, network servers or equipment, and mobile devices. For network systems, choices include wireless, phone-based, cable-based, or satellite-based systems. A choice of network providers will also have to be considered. For office software applications, there are again a wide range of choices that may be proprietary or open source. The equipment lifespan, the cost, expiration of licenses, and the fast-paced development of technologies are a few issues to consider once the organization decides to use ICTs to improve its business operations. So let us now summarize what we have discussed and learned so far. A project is a temporary endeavor aimed at fulfilling desired goals, but are constrained by scope, time, and availability of resources. ICT for development projects are ICT-based service initiatives or solutions in support of human development goals. Projects have life cycles, phases, or stages marked by milestones from start to end. Now, project management provides methods to organize a project in a systematic way to achieve goals and objectives. ICTD projects must seek a balance to manage people, process, and technology for development. Now, there are activities that you can choose from the many to-do lists in Chapter 1, for example. Taking IT Global is an international organization led by youth empowered by technology. TIG brings together young people in more than 192 countries within international networks to collaborate on concrete projects addressing global problems and creative positive change. Now, there are many more activities that you can do so that you can practice project management.